The scratcher felt thin between my fingers, almost insulting. $2. That's what my parents thought I was worth on Thanksgiving night. Across the table, my sister held a glossy envelope with a cruise logo, already planning sunsets on the deck. I smiled, said thank you, and scratched the ticket anyway. The room went quiet. Not the warm, thankful kind of quiet. This was the kind that changes lives. Thanksgiving had always been loud in our house. Too many opinions, too much gravy, and a long history of comparisons nobody ever admitted out loud. The turkey sat in the center like a trophy, steam curling up while football murmured from the living room. My parents moved around the kitchen like hosts at a charity dinner, polite, careful, practiced. I arrived alone, as usual. No +1, no big announcement, just a store-bought pie and a coat that still smelled like the bus. My sister arrived late, as usual, keys jingling, confidence first, perfume second. She kissed both parents, laughed too loudly, and slid into her seat like she owned it. After dinner, the gifts came out. Thanksgiving gifts weren't a tradition, but my parents said this year was different. That word had weight. It always did when they used it. My mom handed my sister an envelope, thick and glossy. My sister tore it open and gasped, actually gasped like she was on a game show. A cruise package, 7 nights, balcony room, photos of blue water and smiling couples spilled onto the table. "Oh my God," she said, already scrolling dates on her phone. "Mom, Dad, this is insane." My parents beamed. Pride sat on their faces like it belonged there. Then my dad reached into his pocket and handed me something small, a scratch-off lottery ticket, $2. The corner bent. "There you go," he said, casual, "just a little fun." I laughed. I had learned how to laugh in moments like this, the kind of laugh that keeps the peace. I thanked them. I meant it too. Gratitude had become a survival skill. My sister smirked. Not openly, just enough. "Hey," she said, "you never know." I scratched the ticket with a fork. The silver dust curled away. Numbers appeared. I wasn't really looking, not at first. Then I saw the word match. Then another. Then another. My chest tightened. My hands started to shake. I scratched the last box. The room went quiet. Not because they noticed me, but because I stopped breathing. The number at the bottom wasn't small. It wasn't medium. It was so large my brain rejected it at first, like a typo. $100 million. I stared at it, counted the zeros, counted again. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. I didn't scream, I didn't jump up. I folded the ticket slowly and slipped it into my pocket like it might vanish if I didn't protect it. My parents were still talking about the cruise. My sister was already planning outfits. No one noticed when my smile changed. I excused myself to the bathroom, locked the door, and leaned against the sink. My reflection looked the same, but everything else had shifted. I knew one thing for sure as I stared at that folded ticket. This wasn't going to end with gratitude. I stayed in that bathroom longer than necessary. The fan hummed overhead, the mirror fogged slightly, and my heart refused to slow down. I pulled the ticket out again, flattened it on the counter, and read the numbers like they were a foreign language. $100 million. Not a prank, not a misprint. The logo was right. The numbers matched. I took a photo. Then another, then I checked the lottery app, hands trembling so badly I almost dropped my phone. The confirmation screen loaded slowly, each second stretching thin. Jackpot winner. I sat on the edge of the tub, suddenly aware of how loud the house felt again. The clink of dishes, my sister's laugh, my dad's voice rising with a joke he'd told 100 times before. They had no idea, and for the first time in my life, I realized I didn't owe them the truth right away. When I came back to the table, dessert was being served. Pumpkin pie for tradition, cheesecake for my sister because she didn't like pumpkin. My mom slid a plate toward me without looking up. "You okay?" she asked, distracted. "Yeah," I said, "just tired." My sister leaned over. "You should check that ticket later," she said, smiling like it was a favor. "Maybe you won $5." I nodded and took a bite of pie I couldn't taste. That night, I lay awake in my childhood bedroom, staring at the ceiling where glow-in-the-dark stars still clung from years ago. The ticket was tucked inside my wallet, inside my jacket, inside my suitcase. I barely slept, not from excitement, but from planning. By morning, I knew 2 things. First, I needed a lawyer before I told anyone. Second, this money was going to change how people saw me, especially the people who had always decided my worth for me. At breakfast, my parents were already talking about my sister's cruise. My sister showed photos of the ship to anyone who would look. She didn't ask about me. She never did. "I'm heading out early," I said, standing up. "Long week ahead." My mom nodded. "Drive safe." No hug, no questions. I walked out with my secret still warm in my pocket. Over the next few days, the calls started, not from my parents, but from the lottery office, from a financial advisor recommended by a friend, from a lawyer who spoke calmly, like he'd handled moments like this before. "You did the right thing by staying quiet," he said. "Once people know, they don't forget." I created a trust. I followed every instruction. I learned words I'd never needed before: anonymity, asset protection, fiduciary duty. Each step felt unreal, like I was playing someone else's life. Then my sister called. "Hey," she said, voice light. "So, Mom told me you've been acting weird." I laughed softly. "Weird how?" "Distant," she said. "Private. You don't usually do that." I looked at the city outside my apartment window, traffic flowing like nothing had changed. People grow. She paused. "Anyway, about the cruise, Mom and Dad might need help with some expenses, since you don't have much going on right now." I closed my eyes. There it was, the assumption, the old script. "Let me think about it," I said. That night, I checked my bank account, still the same small balance, still the same limits. The jackpot wasn't officially transferred yet. On paper, I was still the least successful person at the table, but that wouldn't last. And when the truth finally came out, it wasn't going to land gently. The days before the claim deadline moved faster than time ever had before. Every email from the lawyer tightened my chest. Every unknown number buzzing my phone felt like a risk. I followed instructions carefully. No public appearances, no social media hints, no sudden lifestyle changes. Keep everything quiet until the trust was finalized. Staying quiet, it turned out, was the hardest part. My parents called more than usual. Small calls, innocent calls, the kind that start with weather and end with money. "Your sister's cruise deposit is due," my dad said one evening. "We covered most of it, but things are tight right now." I sat on my couch, staring at a wall I couldn't afford to redecorate yet. "How much?" "A few thousand," he said, quickly. "Nothing crazy." I could hear my sister in the background, laughing, glass clinking, celebration noises. "I can't right now," I said. Silence. "Well," my mom cut in, "it's just surprising. We thought family helps family." That line had always landed on me, never on my sister. "I said I'll think about it," I replied, steady. "That hasn't changed." The calls grew sharper after that, less polite, more direct. My sister stopped pretending. "Let's be real," she said during a late-night call. "You don't have kids. You don't have responsibilities. What are you even saving for?" I didn't answer. She continued. "Mom and Dad gave you that ticket as a joke. You know that, right?" I smiled to myself. "Did they?" "Come on," she said. "It's not like you ever get lucky." I hung up before my voice could betray me. 2 days later, my parents showed up at my apartment unannounced. That had never happened before. They stood in the hallway like inspectors, looking around as if poverty itself were something I'd chosen to decorate with. "We're worried about you," my mom said, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "You're shutting us out." "I'm busy," I replied. My dad crossed his arms. Busy doing what? I met his eyes. Handling my life. They exchanged a look, the kind parents share when they think a child has failed quietly. That night, my lawyer called with a warning. Word is spreading, he said. Not about the ticket, but about money. Someone asked the lottery office if there were any unclaimed winners from Thanksgiving week. My stomach dropped. Who? I can't say for sure, he replied, but the timing isn't random. I locked my doors, checked my windows, and slept with the ticket in a fireproof pouch under my pillow. The next morning, my sister posted a photo online, her cruise confirmation, tagged with a caption about family generosity. The comments poured in. Congratulations, envy, praise. Then she messaged me. Mom's crying, she wrote. She says she failed you. I stared at the words until they blurred. That evening, my phone rang again. Unknown number. I answered. Congratulations, a voice said softly, on your win. My blood went cold. I don't know what you're talking about, I replied. A pause. Then a chuckle. You will. The line went dead. I sat there in the dark, heart pounding, realizing the secret was cracking, and when it broke, it wouldn't just reveal the money. It would reveal everything they'd ever believed about me, and what they were willing to do to change it. I didn't sleep after that call. Every sound outside my apartment felt closer than it should have been. A car door, footsteps, someone laughing down the block. My mind replayed the voice on the phone again and again. Calm, certain, like they already knew the ending. By morning, my lawyer confirmed what I feared. The claim is processed, he said. The transfer will finalize in 48 hours. But there's a problem. I held my breath. What kind of problem? He said someone leaked partial information to a local reporter. No name yet, but the story is coming. My stomach felt something strange then. Not panic, not excitement, clarity. Then it's time, I said. That evening, my parents invited me over for dinner. No reason given, just a text from my mom. Please come, we need to talk. When I walked into the house, the energy was wrong. Too quiet. The TV was off. No food smells. My sister sat at the table, arms crossed, phone face down. My parents stood like they were waiting for a verdict. My dad spoke first. We know. I didn't ask how. My mom's eyes were red. Why didn't you tell us? She asked. We're your family. I took a seat slowly. Because you never asked. My sister scoffed. Don't do that. We gave you that ticket. If it weren't for us. If it weren't for you, I interrupted calmly, I still would have scratched it. Silence fell hard. My dad cleared his throat. There are things to discuss, practical things. I nodded. I agree. My sister leaned forward. So, what's the plan? I looked at each of them, the people who had measured me my whole life, compared me, decided what I deserved. The plan, I said, is that the money goes into a trust. Mine. My mom frowned. But family. I am family, I said, and this is my decision. My sister laughed, sharp and sudden. You don't know how to handle that kind of money? I smiled. That's why I hired people who do. Her smile vanished. My dad stood up. We raised you. You raised me, I replied, to expect less. That's when the shouting started. Accusations, guilt, history rewritten out loud. My sister cried. My mom begged. My dad warned me about regret. I listened, all of it. Then I reached into my bag and placed a document on the table, a printed press release, my name, the headline. Local resident claims $100 million jackpot, chooses to remain private. My sister stared at it like it might explode. "You already told them?" she whispered. "No," I said. "I protected myself." My phone buzzed, a news alert, then another, then another. My parents' phones lit up too. Outside, a car slowed, then another. Cameras, voices, the world had arrived. I stood up. "I'll help where I choose," I said, "but not because you finally see me as valuable." I walked to the door as shouting turned to pleading. Behind me, my sister said quietly, "You owe us." I paused, hand on the knob. "No," I said. "I finally don't." And when I stepped outside into the flash of cameras and calling voices, I knew the hardest part wasn't winning the money. It was surviving the people who thought it belonged to them. The days that followed felt unreal, like I was watching my life through a screen instead of living it. Reporters camped outside my building, neighbors I'd never spoken to waved like old friends. People from my past reached out with messages that started casual and ended hopeful. I didn't answer most of them. The trust finalized quietly. The money arrived without fireworks, just numbers on a screen, so large they stopped feeling like numbers at all. I sat with my lawyer in a clean office and signed my name until my hand cramped. When it was done, he looked at me and said, "You're free to disappear if you want." I smiled. "I don't want to disappear. I want to choose." My parents tried again. Long emails this time, softer words, apologies wrapped in explanations. They said they were proud. They said they hadn't realized how unfair things had been. They said money didn't matter. My sister didn't apologize. She sent a single message. "We could have been a team." I read it once, then I deleted it. On Thanksgiving a year later, I didn't go home. I hosted my own dinner instead. A small table, friends who had seen me at my lowest, people who had never measured my value in gifts or expectations. The turkey was a little dry. The laughter was real. After dinner, someone asked if I ever regretted scratching that ticket. I thought about it, about the bathroom mirror, the folded paper in my pocket, the silence that followed. "No," I said. "I regret staying small before it." I used the money carefully, quietly. Scholarships, community programs, a foundation that never carried my family name. I paid off my own debts first, then built something that couldn't be taken away by guilt or pressure. Every so often, I'd see photos online. My sister on another trip, my parents smiling at a restaurant they couldn't afford before. Someone else had stepped in to help them, someone eager, someone hopeful. And that was fine. Because here's the truth I learned after winning $100 million. The ticket didn't change me. It revealed everyone else. It showed me who believed I deserved abundance and who only believed it once it benefited them. It taught me that gratitude doesn't mean obedience, and generosity doesn't require sacrifice of self. On the next Thanksgiving, I pulled a lottery ticket from my wallet and looked at it for a long moment before tearing it in half. Luck can open a door, but knowing your worth is what keeps you from walking back into the room that tried to close it on you.